Hello and welcome back to the Final Whistle podcast. My name is Harry McBain, and today's episode is based all around my club, Nottingham Forest. And joining me today to talk about them is YouTuber Ben Dore, aka Dore on Tour. So make sure to go and subscribe to him. I'll put all the links in the comments. Thank you for coming on. How are you doing?
Thank you for bringing me on as well. I'm not too bad. As a Forest fan, we're having the ups and downs, but it is what it is with it.
So we're currently sat 20th in the championship for everyone that might not know, and we're outside the bottom three on goal difference. What do you think's been our main problem this year?
Goals. That's the main problem. Goals. I think Loud Taylor's our top scorer with 4 goals. But at the same time, it's like we've conceded stupid goals as well. Like at the start of the season, in the Moocher, was it 4 defeats in a row, 5 defeats in a row? Then he got sacked, and then to be fair, we brought in is it 15 players we brought in as well. It doesn't take time to gel. Things behind the club as well has been happening. I can go on, but I see it as goals. We're not scoring goals, and I think it's everything that's happening in the Forest at the moment.
And obviously, when we say goals, we got, as you said, Loud Taylor in the summer. And when we signed him, everyone thought, "Oh, great, we got Taylor and Graben. They would be amazing up top together." And Lamucci supposedly said to Taylor, "I want to play you in a front two," but never did. Do you think that we'll see them play up top together? Obviously, Hughton's playing a one up top. Do you think they would work well together as a two?
As you know, I think we played them 2 against Derby, and did it really work? Not really. It didn't work at all. I know you can take time to build a relationship up front, but Graben's a fantastic striker, as well as like Taylor in this league. Could they play again with each other in the future? Maybe, but we need goals. So I personally, I would test it if I'm honest. I think our next game is against Birmingham. As you know, Colback came back last week and he scored. It took like 5 minutes to score. I would test it again, but we need to win games, and that's the most important thing. If we do play them top front.
And last season, obviously, we were doing so well until the restart happened, and then it didn't really click after that.
Don't mention that. Don't mention it.
Do you think last season was just a fluke? Because maybe the way that no one else in the league knew how Sabri played until it started, maybe over the lockdown they just worked it out and we couldn't seem to win.
I won't say it's a fluke because, as you know, I think we had a fantastic season before the pandemic. Especially away from home, we was getting fantastic results. Like teams against Fulham, Cardiff, Brentford, and if you see that's how Lamucci played. Before the pandemic started, we come back. My opinion, I think most Forest fans will say, I think the game against Derby away when we absolutely battered him, and when Joe Worrell did that mistake. Since then, it's been downhill. And especially as you know, Stoke at home, last game of the season. That was for all Forest fans.
Embarrassing.
It was embarrassing, and things had to happen. And as you know, there's been things happening behind the club. I don't know what to say. It has been embarrassing, but I wouldn't say, back to the question, I wouldn't say it was a fluke because that's how Lamucci plays. And what happened to him, getting sacked at the start of the season, if you look at it now, would I kept him? Maybe. But I wouldn't say it's a fluke at all.
And in the summer, we got, as you said, about 14, 15 players. One of them was Jack Colback, who had been on loan twice, I think, with the club before, and had done quite well when he was there before. What were your first thoughts when we re-signed him compared to now what he's possibly contributed?
I didn't want him back. Only reason because, like I said, he came on loan twice. The second spell he had, he picked up 15 bookings. 15 yellow cards, and I know especially the younger fans wanted to call it back on social media. Have we, like, as he's come back to the club, and has he done anything? I know he's injured at the moment, but has he done anything special for us? Not really. I'm not the kind of person to slag off any voice players because they always got my support. Because what's the point slagging them off? I didn't want him back. That was my opinion. But just he's a voice player, and we've got to support him as much as we want. But I think he's picked up like so many bookings now, and I don't think he. I didn't want him back, but I'm not going to criticize him.
What was you saying about criticism there? One of the players that is definitely at the start of the season that was criticised probably the most out of any Forest player I've seen in years was Ryan Yates. And he's now come and he's done quite well, shown a bit of passion, and people comparing him a bit to Chris Cohen slightly. How much do you rate Yates?
Let me be honest. Ryan Yates has been given really, really bad criticism on social media. My opinion, Ryan Yates has been one of the best players for Forest. Even if we've not been playing great, the passion that he does for the club is second to none. Because he doesn't score goals as much. I know he's missed 2 or 3 sitters. They're like, especially the younger fans, like they've been criticising him really, really bad. And it happens with every single player that comes through the academy. It happened to Ben Osborne. It happened to Matty Cash. It happened to Oliver Burke. And now look where these players were at. They're in the Premiership. Yeah. And Ryan Yates, I know he's been linked with and moved to Millwall. Does he deserve the criticism? No, we don't. He's been one of our best players for the club, and because he's not like a big troll like, I don't know, Harry Otter or Jack Colback or Sam Bassau, Forest fans just need to give him a rest, if I'm honest.
And you mentioned Sal there. He's obviously every time Forest are on Sky, which is a horrible thing because they clearly hate Forest during every commentary. But they bring up the fact that, Sam Bassau, whenever we played last season, when Sam Bassau was in the team, we always seem to win. What do you reckon? What do you make of Sal? Obviously, he gets quite a few bookings for fouls that sometimes are tactical, sometimes are just unneeded.
The thing about Sam Bassau, like last season, him and Ben Watson were a fantastic partnership. We all know that he gets injured every single time. You can say the same for about, like, with his bookings. Like, is he bad as Colback? I would say yes. But the difference with Colback and Sam Bassau, he's a bully. He gets the ball on the player. Colback, he gets the player, then the ball. And Sam Bassau, I think the last game that we played against Millwall, I think him and Ryan Yates, they were great against a team that was really physical, strong. Sam Bassau, for me, I'll play him because like I said, that's the player we need in that midfield. And
he was brought in last summer, and we brought in so many this summer. What do you make of the recruitment this summer? Because a lot of them seem to have been completely useless signings, like Diallo, the keeper, who doesn't even make the bench.
Personally, I think the recruitment has been... It's been... You know what? I'll say 50-50. Because if you look at it on players' status, like Harry Otter, fantastic signing. Luke Freeman, fantastic signing. Anthony Knockhart, fantastic signing. But, like, as you mentioned, the goalkeeper, where is he? Even, I think it's Bellucci. Where is he? And we've got, like, Tyler Blackett as well. We've got the Cyprus left back, Iolu.
Yeah.
He can't even get inside. Lyle Taylor, I think personally he was a fantastic signing for us because, like I said, we needed someone to battle for grabbing up front. So if you look at that, I think it's 50-50. And some of the players that we brought in was we can't even get a sniff. in the team, to be fair.
And one of the names that we brought in from Olympiacos in an interesting deal where Thiago Silva left the club, which in my opinion was obviously it was the Olympiacos whole thing, but we brought in Kafu was our end of the deal, and he wasn't held massively, when he came in, but he's made an all right impact. What do you make of Kafu?
Let me be real with Kafu, right? Like I said, yes, he's the last 2 games, and especially was it Wickham again, or Coventry? He's played, no, Watford, it was Watford game. He played all right. But you've got to be consistent every single game. You play one good game, 5 fans are, oh, he's been fantastic. No, you've got to be consistent every single game. He did an assist against, what game was it? Sheffield Wednesday. Sheffield Wednesday were poor, and he got to be consistent. Forest players, we've got Kafu, we've got Guerrero from Olympiacos as well. So they've got to be consistent to be like, to Forest fans to say, yes, they're great. But Kafu, he needs to be consistent over and over again, and he's got to make Forest fans, because the players he got from Olympiacos, have they really been great?
There's a reason they're not at Olympiacos.
Exactly, and that's my point. They've not really done much, but Kafu, he's got to be consistent over and over for us.
And if we look manager-wise, I think Hughton's now the 5th manager Marinakes has had in. What is it, do you think, that why managers don't last? Do you think it's just the modern trend of let's sack a manager, or is there just something, well, we know there's something at the club, but do you think that's the reason?
Listen, mate, for the last 22 years, we've not been in the Premier League. And I get it, I understand, like yourself, you're young.
Yeah.
And Forest fans, young generation, we want success. We've not been in the Premier League, like I said, for ages. And the point of Chris Hughton, I was really happy with posting him. But he plays exactly the same as Lamucci. I remember when he joined Brighton, in Championship, saved them from relegation, and next season he got them promoted. Do I really think he'll do that with Forest? This season, Forest will lose, I don't know, 2 or 3 games in a row, and the fans will go mad. Look at Watford; they just set the manager, and without the way we deal with stuff, we could lose 2 or 3 games or 4 games, and we could sack Hughton. Look at how cranky are. He was in the players for Nottingham Forest. He didn't get along with the board. Hughton, he needs that 100% with no interference from no one, because if he gets a little sniff from any backroom staff telling him what to do, Hughton will go. And this season, a write-off. We're not going to get promoted this season. He needs to sort out January, get rid of the dead players that we have, and bring in. Do I really think that we need to bring in players in January? Maybe 1 or 2, but not loads overall. But Hughton as well, he's a fantastic manager, but he needs to get his own fluffery to the team.
Yeah, well, there were plenty of comments on posts yesterday when they sacked the Watford manager, and it was Forest fans going, "Oh, we thought Fawaz was bad," and when it comes to getting rid of managers. And I think, as you said there, Hughton had made clear that when he arrived, that if he got anything, he would go, and I think that would be very bad for the club. And thing is, I don't trust that won't happen, because especially the things that have come out and all basing around the one man is the CEO, Vrentzos, who is an interesting figure. From what we've seen, obviously, there was I think it was the report that came out of The Athletic earlier in December. What do you make of the man, and do you think he needs to get out of the club?
Let me say something right, because I've read it. I'm not going to lie, I've read it, and it was really interesting. But people need to recognise they're a business. For us business, we can whinge. Daniel Taylor, he's a journo. That's his job, to sell stories. And I understand it's frustrating. Like he said, he needs to protect the club. fair enough. But at the same time, the CEO, the thing he's done, it's bad, and that's real. It's bad. Do we really need to get rid of him? In a nutshell, yes. But if we do get rid of him, we're going to bring someone who does exactly the same job that Marinakes is to tell him, do this, do this, do this. What? And then the thing is, like I said, it's a weird situation. I've got to be careful what I say, because this, like the CEO, like I said, he's a bad relationship with players, bad relationship especially with managers, like with Crankier, ONeill, Lemucci, and he really does not need to go to the bad side of Hughton, because, like I said, if he does, Hughton will be gone, and it's going to be difficult. But it's going to be really difficult to get along with the CEO. And the good thing about it is, with fans not going in, he's lucky, because he Forest fans will go for him if this carries on behind the scenes.
Well, for the people that don't know some of the things that are in the article, basically, he turned up to training under Karanka to basically just stand there and stare at them all, and apparently that made a lot of the players very angry, understandably. He also helped, there's setting up with the bomb squad, which I'm going to move on to now, and basically it's apparently very common in Greece, and they shove the players into training with just by themselves. They had to move out of the first team, like locker rooms and everything. And we've had people like Carvalho go in there, Adoma. What do you, I mean, it's pretty obvious, but that's clearly not an acceptable way to treat players, is it?
If you know what, if you look at it right, I think that it happens to every club, because our club's called a bomb squad. It happens to everyone, and with players like Carvalho, Albert Adomo, especially Albert Adomo, like he was a really good figure in the changing room. Carvalho, like, my opinion, he didn't do much, but I get it. Like I said, I understand it. Why? Like he's really he's a creative spark, but he never did it for Forest. Let's be real. One good game, 2 or 3 good games for Forest, and we've got players like Clough, people like Hefner who are in the bomb squad, and personally, it happens to every club because the Greek and the focus are on them. This is why all the tension has come with all the bomb squad, and I think it's wrong. I think all players should be given a chance to train with the first team, but if you're not good enough to get in the team, then you should play. It's just a mad situation how everyone's been, especially like Clough and Hefner, got to train with the 23 players, but it is really bad, to be honest.
And one of the interesting things is they had Pantilimon was asked whether he wanted to be a part of a testimonial match for company, and he had to get permission from the club, and basically Vrenzel said no, which, I mean, he wasn't even playing at the time, so I don't understand what the reasoning behind that was. But ONeill came in under the Greeks, obviously, and he'd been linked with Forest, the jobs, obviously, when we'd sacked the manager multiple times about him, and he'd previously said no, he doesn't want to come because he would ruin his reputation. Then he finally did come. It didn't really work out as well as everyone would have maybe hoped. Were you pro ONeill, or did you not think it was a good idea?
Listen, man, like, this is for any Forest fan. If any manager gets appointed at Nottingham Forest, they're always going to get the backlash from any Forest fan. So people can be pro ONeill, pro Crankier, pro Hughton, pro anyone. Forest fans need to recognise we've been in this league for 22 years. So anyone who's a Forest manager are going to get hammered. Martin ONeill, I felt sorry for him at that time when he got sacked, because you talked about Pantilimon. He wanted to play for Forest, but the CEO didn't want him. the thing with, I'm frustrated. I'm frustrated like any Forest fan with the way any manager comes in the club and they want instant success. It's not going to happen. This league is tough, but I understand the fans' frustration. We've been in the league for 22 years and we want to be in the Premiership, and it's not easy. And then 2 defeats, 3 defeats, fans get frustrated. Like Hughton, when Hughton lost 6 on a bounce, social media were bad for it. Oh, Hughton out. He's the same as Lucci. No, it's not. It's just. Yeah. It's really bad with how managers get treated, especially at Forest.
Yeah, and obviously the big man Marinakes. There were some interesting things in that article about him that, you know, such stupid things like the staff being told not to wear purple because he doesn't like the colour, and that's how they know that Marinakes is coming to visit. I think Forest fans, obviously we had Fawaz before who was horrendous. And there's some comparisons of what's come out in this thing to, you know, being bad owners. Do you think that Marinakes should be staying around, or would you rather prefer him out because he's maybe a slightly better version of Fawaz, but he's still not good enough?
You've got to look at it like the guy Marinakes. He spent money. He spent money, big money, and I mentioned the word business. People, it's a business. That's this what, especially like I said, especially the younger fans, they don't understand. They need, like it's a club that what Fowler's done, he wasn't treated as a business. What Marinakes done, he's put people in places, blah blah blah, and Forest fans, like especially myself, I think the CEO, it's awful what he's doing, but it's a business. We can't tell Marinakes, oh, do this. We can't tell him. We can vent our frustration on Twitter or whatever social media and say, get rid of him. It doesn't work like that. That's like going to my workplace and telling him to get rid of him. No. Marinakes, he's done good things for us. Like, we're meant to be getting the new stand, and people never recognise it wasn't Marinakes, it was the CEO who done this.
Yeah.
I can repeat myself. Fans can put on social media, get rid of Marinakes. He's not going to do that because there's more. I know more. There's more info I know about why he's our CEO, but I'm not going to say that because I get myself in trouble.
And then we'll end on one final question, which you kind of touched on earlier, of Hughton's at the moment. He did it with Brighton. Do you think he can save us? Do you think he will save us? Or if he doesn't, how long do you think the board and everything will give him, considering they're not exactly
We're not getting relegated. We're not getting relegated. Let's put that straight. Right. I don't think we'll get relegated. Hughton he's a fantastic manager, and I think we'll finish mid-table. And that's my opinion, because there's too many big teams that will go up now for me. Like I said, he needs a good January window and a good summer to bring his players that he wants, that will know his style of play. It'll take time, but I believe in Hughton. Like, if Forest fans thinking, oh, he's not the man, they need to go and follow someone else. Go and follow Derby County, because it'll take, like I said, it'll take time. It'll take time to get the right method at Forest. But he's a man to take us forward, and they've got to believe us.
Definitely agree. Well, thank you so much, Ben, for coming on. That's all we have time for. Make sure everybody to go and follow him on YouTube and our Instagram.
Mr. Dore. It's not Dore on tour. It's Mr. Dore. I had to change it. Mr. Dore.
I'll put everything in the description below. Thank you so much for coming on, and make sure to like and share the video with all your friends.